it going, everybody? So we're back talking some more of The Boys Season 4 on the channel, Episode 6. We only have a few episodes left for this season, and this week, the episode is quite a doozy. We have some pretty wild developments at Tek Knight's Manor, along with the reveal that I think for the most part a lot of us saw coming. But before I get into my thoughts about the episode, make sure you share your thoughts down below. What did you think of the episode? And if you're a big fan of The Boys, make sure you stay tuned, stay subscribed, leave a like, because we're going to be talking about The Boys each and every week. Carrying on right from last week, Butcher's got poor Samir chained up, demanding he create more of the virus, making it strong enough to kill Homelander. For as much as I enjoy Butcher as a character, it's honestly kind of a shame that not only is he essentially separated from the boys once again, but allowing himself to sink to such depths blinded by his desire to kill Homelander, that he's not worried about anything or anyone else besides that goal. Despite how devastating it was that Huey's dad passed away last week, I think it's nice that both Huey and his mother seem to have rekindled some level of relationship. And of all things that Huey Sr. would demand as far as spreading his ashes go, they go and dump out Huey Sr.'s ashes on a Made in Manhattan tour. Who knew all of this time that Huey Sr. was such a big fan of Jennifer Lopez? Fortunately for this episode, unlike a lot of Season 4, we're not jumping around all that much to the different storylines. A lot of stuff still happens inside of Tek Knight's Manor, but it's mostly an all-in-one central location, with the overall focus centered around the boys infiltrating a gathering at Tek Knight's Manor to gain intel once A-Train calls MM in a panic, tell him about the potential soup army that Homelander's putting together after they killed Cameron. Something I loved a lot about the boys' plan to infiltrate this gathering, though, is paying off something that we've been building up with different references throughout the season towards Webweaver. He's been name-dropped a couple times, and what an intro this character makes. It's actually the main reason why I wore this shirt in particular. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. So it was much more crazy as a Spider-Man fan seeing this interpretation of Spider-Man within the boys' universe. Webweaver probably is one of the worst interpretations of Spider-Man we've seen. Basically, Spider-Man with a crippling drug addiction. After this episode, I'm kind of a changed man as far as being a Spider-Man fan, traumatized by watching MM accidentally put the drugs in Webweaver's web hole and then webs shoot out onto his face. From now on, that's something I'm going to be thinking about as a Spider-Man fan. Thankfully, that is the only time we see Webweaver in the episode. I love Huey, and I am glad that he's back into the fold with the boys and on missions again, but maybe he should have just stayed behind a little bit longer, because they waste no time putting him in the worst situation possible, making him wear the Webweaver suit, having him go undercover to plant bugs all throughout Tek Knight's Manor, while it's filled with a bunch of superheroes, mind you. Personally, I was on Annie's side. I think we should have just not done this. Lucky for him, though, I guess you can call this luck, the suit just smells so bad. It essentially acts as a sort of added layer of disguise when he runs into Newman and Tek Knight. Even still, I was expecting somebody that was superpowered was going to recognize him. Up to this point, it's been made pretty clear that Tek Knight is the boys' interpretation of Batman. He's wealthy, styled similarly to Bruce Wayne, has a tech cave in a manor where he can have rich socialite parties. I think it's hilarious that the Deep and Black Noir just weren't invited to this at all and are stuck hanging out at the tower. We've seen a couple new characters enter the fold in Season 4 that are pretty good. Sister Sage is definitely one of them, but my personal favorite, I think, is this brand new Black Noir, because he is absolutely hilarious every single time he gets any tidbit of screen time. He's ready to quit just off the sheer fact that Black Noir was such a weirdo that he just has no idea how to get his mannerisms and how to act like him. When we cut back to Tek Knight's tech cave, I mean, I already knew going into this from his sequences in Gen V, he was a bit of a sex-crazed deviant, but this sex dungeon he has in his cave is insane. All this different equipment, this man chained up in the corner in a gimp suit. At this point, I'm horrified by Huey being stuck in the middle of all this, being subjected to whatever crazy sexual fantasies Tek Knight wants him to take part in. As I said earlier, it was definitely a doozy seeing all of this transpire. Rubbing his butt on a cake and farting on it, being tied down. We had seen before that Ashley was into this sort of stuff, but I didn't expect her to come down here and take part in it with him. Low-key though, for as awful as I felt about Huey enduring all of this stuff, I was dying laughing because he keeps yelling out random words in hopes that it's going to be the safe word. He continuously gets it incorrect. Felt so relieved that Annie, MM, and Kamiko finally go into the house to try and save him, but then it just added its own complications to the matter. Firecracker really wasn't much of a complication. She gets taken out fairly easily. Sister Sage is easily taken out because she's not really that type of superhero. This entire section, though, had me stressed from the moment that MM drops on the floor and it seemed like he was having a heart attack. Don't get me wrong, I was happy that Kamiko went and got A-Train to try and save MM. It was this mixture of stress and laughter with Kamiko running around the room grabbing different books so she can tell A-Train what to do. Like, we don't have a lot of time here for all this different charades when he's dying on the floor. Admittedly, and I have said this before, I'm kind of on the fence about A-Train having this big redemption arc, but these moments like this do kind of win me over. You can tell how proud A-Train is about being seen as a hero when he runs out of there and saves MM's life. On the flip side though, Newman is having an awful experience trying to talk to all these old folks trying to campaign. She probably had the funniest, most shocking moment of the episode, which unfortunately was spoiled in the trailer, which was her visualizing popping her own head, having to listen to this old Southern man justify abortion bans to her. For the most part, this entire event was a mess and just got worse and worse as the episode progressed. Like having Homelander have to tell everyone about their plan because Sage is currently too dumb to do so because she's recovering from being shot in the head. And we all know Homelander doesn't know anything about politics, so it's just a complete train wreck. He says arguably the wildest line of dialogue in the entire episode. I mean, it's between this or when Firecracker is trying to talk about Jewish space lasers on TV. That's when Homelander tries to tell all these old rich folks that they're going to replace superheroes with transgender illegals. For Huey's sake, I was glad he was saved just in the nick of time before Tech Knight could cut a hole into him and then have sex with it. As if this episode couldn't get any more wild, they're forced to try alternate methods to torture Tech Knight into giving them info because they can't torture him straight up because he's into that stuff, choosing to instead go for his money, sending millions to different organizations that he doesn't like Elizabeth Warren and Black Lives Matter. It does lead to an interesting reveal though that they're using the prisons that he owns as internment camps. Sadly or otherwise, depending on how you feel about Tech Knight, I guess this is more than likely the last time we'll see Tech Knight. I guess if anyone's going to take out Tech Knight for good, it's going to be his version of Alfred. I don't think I'll miss the character between Gen V and the boys. I always thought he was pretty weird. Plus they managed to add in one final Spider-Man jab since the safe word this entire time actually was Zendaya. As a big Spider-Man fan, it has been interesting watching these Amazon series this year. First we had Agent Spider and Invincible, now we have Webweaver and the boys. I definitely think Agent Spider is the better between the two. Being as we only have a couple episodes left, these next few events are definitely things I'm putting a pin in for the rest of the season. Now before, and even in this episode, we've been seeing Firecracker trying her hardest to prove just how loyal she is to Homelander, and the Supes in general, I guess. Willing to do basically anything, but I was taken aback by what she does decide to do. I was about as shocked as Homelander was when he gets breast milk shot into his face. This is something that we had seen set up previously. Eagle-eyed people had noticed that the drug that she had been taking has those exact same side effects that help produce breast milk, and in doing that, Homelander is now completely smitten with her, going from telling her that he didn't find her attractive whatsoever, being coddled and enjoying breast milk from Firecracker, which is a sentence I didn't think I would be saying this week. As for the stuff revolving around Butcher, it's been clear since day one that Becca and Joe are sort of the angel and devil on his shoulder that are fighting their hardest to get Butcher to listen to them. Unfortunately, up until this point, Jeffrey Dean Morgan has been the clear winner in this struggle. I mean, I get it, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's a pretty smooth talking kind of guy, but it's extremely evident at this point that he is the sadistic side of things, urging Butcher to do terrible things. What has me worried though is what Samir tells Butcher. I think that was finally the thing that clicked in the Butcher's head that makes him realize that he shouldn't be listening to Joe anymore, because he tells Butcher that if he goes and makes this virus powerful enough to kill Homelander, essentially every superhero in the world is going to die. Anybody that has Compound V in their blood, immediately dead. So sure, you're gonna kill people like Homelander and Newman, but you're also gonna be killing your friends like Starlight, Kamiko, and worst of all, Ryan would die as well. So it sounds very counterproductive to go forward with making this powerful enough to kill Homelander because it'll kill everybody, while grappling with this huge crisis, debating with both Joe and Becca about what to do. We get the big reveal, which is kind of awkward because everybody kind of saw it coming to this point, and they kind of make it this big cliffhanger kind of reveal. The montage and everything to accompany it. Joe has been in Butcher's head this entire time. He's imagined him. He's actually dead. It seemed to me, at least, with the way that he worded things, Joe is kind of like the avatar for the crazy V-dub tumor inside of Butcher's head. So that's an interesting development if that ends up being the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty cool reveal and all, but pretty much from the get-go, everyone figured out that he was imaginary. Nobody else in the show besides Butcher has talked to Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character or acknowledged his existence at all. So at least it's official now that we know he's imaginary. But yeah, make sure you share your thoughts down below. What you think of episode 6 of season 4 of The Boys? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? How'd you feel about all the stuff that went down in episode 6? And if you have any predictions where we're going to go in episode 7 and in the finale, I'd love to know those down below as well, because the fun of this is that conversation with you guys in the comment section. Thank you guys, as always, check out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. But next time, I'll see you guys later.